Hello, my name is Kara. Welcome back to Not Too Cool to Read. And yeah, so we're gonna read some scary stories. I'm excited. So yeah, these stories are gonna be for everyone, hopefully. Yeah. And I think there's 5 stories in all. I'm going to try to read all the way through. If not, I'm going to post them one at a time. Looks a little bit blurry. I'm sorry about that if it blurs or anything. Maybe my camera is confused as to what to focus on. But yeah, you guys, I'm so excited. Again, thank you for everyone who subscribed lately. Thank you for all your comments. I haven't had a chance to read all of them. I hope you guys saw the last video I posted. I know it wasn't for everyone, but I just wanted to let you guys know that yes, I am going to be trying to post more. And I just want to say, I hope that all you guys are safe. I hope your families are safe and everything. I hope you guys are doing good at home. And I hope you guys are doing good at school. You know, if you guys are back in school or if you're doing online work, I hope you guys are okay. And comment down below what you want to do for Halloween and what you're probably going to be doing for Halloween. If you are going to be going trick-or-treating, I just want to say to you, listen to your parent or your guardian. Listen to everything they say. I know sometimes it seems like parents are being like really overprotective. We are, but like just try to listen. And also, if you do go trick-or-treating, don't eat any candy until your parent or guardian checks it first to see if it's safe. And also, sharing is caring. Okay, so we're reading Scary Stories by Kara Aitken, illustrated by Wildan Rayusman? Yeah, I think that's Rayusman. The roller coaster. Over 20 years ago, when I was just a young kid, my family and many other families in my hometown all loved to go to this place called Fun World. Fun World was a kid's dream. It had go-karts with fast and slow tracks, video games, bumper boats, laser tag, and miniature golf. I clearly remember the end of summer vacation. It was the year I was going into 5th grade. That summer, Fun World had a huge announcement to make. All of the kids and families went to Fun World on the last weekend of summer to hear the big news. They announced they were going to build a huge wooden roller coaster. All of the kids were super excited. We couldn't wait for the coaster to be built, but it wouldn't be open until the summer of the following year. We all headed back to school and anxiously waited for the school year to end. About 4 months into the school year, my parents dropped the worst news ever. We were moving to another state in 2 weeks. I was so upset. I'm never going to get to ride the new roller coaster. This is so unfair, I yelled as I stumped to my room and slammed the door. That day, I felt like my parents had ruined my life. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to go to a new school and meet new friends. But most of all, I didn't want to miss out on the grand opening of the new roller coaster. I called my friend Josh and told him the terrible news. "Sucks for you," he laughed unsympathetically. "That's rude," I replied. "I'm just joking. You know, I'm gonna miss you. I'll take lots of pictures of the new roller coaster." I'm just joking. You know, I'm gonna miss you. Why can't I say the sentence? I'm just joking, you know. I'm gonna miss you. I'll take lots of pictures of the new coaster and send them to you. You're not helping. This really, really sucks. And I hate my parents right now. Why couldn't they just wait until next year? Josh didn't seem too compassionate. I don't know, but I'm in the middle of a good game of Madden. I'll talk to you about it at school. Bye. He impatiently replied and hung up. I was so mad. Not only did my parents just ruin... I was so mad. Not only did my parents just ruin my life, but my best friend didn't even care that I was leaving. I spent the next 2 weeks sad and depressed, but there was nothing I could do about it. Eventually, the boxes were packed and the moving trucks were scheduled to arrive. I said goodbye to everyone at school, told Josh he was a lousy friend, and went home to move. After a week of unpacking and settling in, I started my new life in my new school. It was a rough adjustment at first, but after a few months, I met some new friends and forgot all about the excitement of the wooden roller coaster. As years went by and I grew older, I forgot all about Josh, Fun World, and my old school. They all became faded memories of my childhood. I'm a man now, with 3 children of my own. Over the years, I've told my wife and kids about Fun World and the big roller coaster I never got to ride. This weekend, I surprised them with a trip to Fun World. We woke up extra early, loaded up the car, and headed back to my old town to go to Fun World. The kids were so excited, and I had to admit, I was eager to get there as well. When we arrived, I felt like a kid again, full of joy. Butterflies filled my stomach as childhood memories flooded my mind. First thing we did when we got there was head straight to the back to get to the entrance to the coaster and buy our tickets. That's when it happened. My dreams of riding the huge wooden coaster was ruined. Again, the coaster was closed. At the front of the coaster was a huge barricade, several strips of yellow caution tape draped across from left to right, and a giant sign hung from the barricade that read, "No trespassing, keep out, closed permanently, ordered by FBI investigation team." What in the world happened? The huge, beautiful wooden coaster was closed down and completely abandoned. Tall weeds and grass were growing all around it. Long, stringy vines hugged the wooden planks. There were cobwebs in the corners and cracks of the coaster. All the lights were out. The sign for the coaster was faded and hanging by a rusty chain. It would blow in the wind, and an eerie squeaking sound would echo through the air. It was so creepy. There were no signs of fun or joy anywhere around. No one was even back there. It was simply left alone to rot and decay. It was quite depressing, to say the least. Just as my family and I headed back into Fun World, we saw a custodian sweeping the floor. He was an old man, just as decrepit and unkempt as the roller coaster. We approached him, hoping he could tell us what happened to the abandoned roller coaster. "Excuse me, sir. Would you mind telling us what happened to the coaster?" I asked. "You must not be from around here," he replied as he swept the dusty floor. "No, sir. I lived here when I was a boy, but my family moved away while the coaster was being built. This is my first time back in town in 20 years. Be glad you moved. You could have been one of them." "One of who?" my daughter asked. "One of them," he said louder as he pointed to a gigantic glass frame hanging on the wall. We walked towards the glass frame to get a better look. In the glass frame were dozens of missing persons posters. All of them were kids. There must have been at least 30 posters of missing kids. My skin crawled with goosebumps, and my mind churned with fear and questions. My son interrupted, shouting with mixed emotions of fear and curiosity. "What happened to all those kids?" The old man began to explain. while continuing to sweep. The wooden coaster had its grand opening, and everything was great. In fact, I was one of the first people hired to operate the coaster. The kids loved it. Day and night, the coaster would roar up and down the hills. He stopped sweeping. Then he looked around to see if anyone was listening. He leaned in closer and said softly, "Then, about a year after the coaster was built, bad things started to happen. Terrible things. Evil things." "What do you mean, evil things?" my daughter said, hanging on to the old man's every word with her eyes wide open. I could tell she was getting scared, and to be honest, I was too. But that didn't stop our curiosity. The old man looked around again, double-checking we were still alone. Then he looked at us very seriously and whispered, "I probably shouldn't be telling you this." I could tell he was worried about frightening my kids, so I gave him a nod to let him know it was okay to continue. "Well, you'll probably hear it from someone eventually. Might as well hear it from me. At least I know the truth." He leaned in even closer and whispered, "Kids started disappearing from that roller coaster." "What?" I said in shock, while trying to remain quiet. "How? I don't get it." The old man continued, "We would load 30 kids in it, but when it came back, only 29 kids would be on the coaster. The first time it happened, no one believed it. The managers of the park thought we just made a mistake when counting heads and filling the seats. When parents would come looking for their kid, they were gone. There was nothing we could do but call the police. I tried to tell the managers something was wrong. I told them the kids were going out on the coaster, but they weren't coming back. They didn't believe me. I told them they needed to close it down. They thought I was crazy, and so they didn't listen." We stood there shocked and in disbelief while the old man continued. The managers were just being greedy. All they cared about was selling tickets and making money, so they ordered us to keep the ride open. I knew it wasn't a good idea, but I followed orders because I didn't want to lose my job. That first week, 13 kids went missing. It was terrible. I finally refused to operate the coaster. I was no longer willing to participate. I asked to have a new position at the park. They handed me a broom and a mop, and I've been the custodian ever since. "I don't believe this," my son responded, while nodding his head back and forth. "Nope, this can't be true. There's no way." The old man perked up. You could tell he was a little bit annoyed with my son's disbelief. "Well, you don't have to believe it, but that doesn't change anything. The truth is the truth. Something evil and sinister happened here. I saw it with my own eyes." The man leaned his broom and dustpan up against the wall and continued on. "I know for a fact all of the seats were full when I sent out the coaster, because I loaded it every time. I was there to witness the empty seat when it came back. I saw the parents crying and falling to the floor when their kids disappeared. But everyone was in denial. The adults just couldn't accept the fact. You know, a lot of people don't believe in the supernatural world. Well, just because you don't believe in something doesn't mean it isn't true." "But why? How? I just can't see how something like this could happen," I said with a tremble in my voice. "I know how it happened. I know the truth, and the truth is that coaster is cursed," the old man said. He continued telling up the details. The management stayed in denial, refusing to believe that everything like this was possible. Eventually, word got out about the coaster being cursed or haunted, or whatever you want to call it. You would think that would be enough to keep the kids off of it, right? Nope. Not at all. More kids started coming and loading into the coaster. It's almost like they wanted to see for themselves. And since no one believed the reality of it, kids, parents, and management foolishly kept sending more victims out. 17 more kids disappeared before the police ordered Fun World to close the coaster for investigation. There were police, FBI investigators, police dogs, and detectives all over this place for months. But it was too late. The kids that disappeared were gone forever. 30 kids went missing, and not one of them ever came back. I stared at the roller coaster in disbelief. We were all stunned. How could this be true? Curses aren't real, I replied. The custodian answered, I have my theory. Like I said, it's cursed. But again, no one listens to me. I was there. I remember. Remember what? My wife asked. The custodian went on to explain. An old woman came to the park with her grandson. They stood out like sore thumbs, and everyone was staring at them. They were just creepy looking. Mothers pulled their kids away when they walked by them. They didn't even want to touch the old lady or her grandson because they looked so dirty and poor. They were just plain weird. All they did was walk around and look at the games and rides. The old woman asked me if her grandkids could ride the roller coaster for free since she had no money. I told her I couldn't help her or I could get fired, but I felt bad, so I told her to ask the manager. She went to ask the manager, who I knew was going to say no. All of the managers were greedy fools. All they cared about was money because they got paid bonuses for selling a certain amount of tickets each day. But the old lady was obviously very poor. He could have helped her if he wanted to. Instead, the manager rudely told her no and walked away. I saw the old lady get angry and raise her hands in the air. She shouted some strange words loudly. Biggity biggity blah blah blah. As she shouted with her hands in the air, the wind picked up and swirled around the entire park. A crash of lightning hit the coaster. She lowered her arms and the wind stopped. Then they just left. And you know what? That's when it all started. The disappearances started after she made that lightning strike the coaster. She cursed this place. I know it. And I don't care what anyone thinks. That's the truth. Whoa. Nice. The old man picked up his broom and dustpan up again and began sweeping again. We couldn't believe what we were hearing, but the proof was all around us. Barricades, FBI warnings, and missing posters. It was all proof that this really happened. And as the old man continued with his work, my family stared at the old abandoned coaster, and I glanced over the posters. There were so many kids missing. I began looking at all of the pictures of the missing kids. Then I saw him. There he was, right in the middle of them all. It was a poster of Josh. My heart sank. He disappeared when he was only 11 years old, and no one has seen him since. It was then that I realized how easily I could have been one of the missing kids. I thought about how mad I was at my parents when they made me move, and now I'm just so glad we did. My wife interrupted my thoughts. Why haven't they taken the coaster down? Why just leave it there? She asked the old custodian. They don't want to take it down, just in case any of the kids ever come back. Once a month, they send the coaster out empty, just to see what happens. All of the parents of the missing kids gather here to come and see if any of the kids come back, but no one ever does. The end. Oh my goodness, you guys. Let me know in the comments below how you feel about that story. Oh my goodness. That was nice. Okay. This next one's called The Zookeeper. Have you ever wondered how the zoo manages to feed all of those lions and tigers? I mean, think about it. Lions and tigers eat a lot, and they eat every day. Just one tiger consumes 40 to 60 pounds of raw meat a day. That's a lot of fresh meat. At my local zoo, they have 7 lions and 4 tigers. That's at least 440 pounds of fresh meat every single day. I became very curious about this. And so I decided to research this topic for my school project. I asked my mom if she would drop me off at the zoo to do some research. She was reluctant at first, but seeing that I'm almost 13 years old, she felt I was ready to go to the zoo alone, especially since it was for school. That Saturday, she packed me a lunch and some drinks to take to the zoo. We loaded into the car, and as we were driving towards the zoo, in typical mom style, she started lecturing me. Adam, remember, don't talk to strangers, she said nervously. I know, Mom. Drink lots of water, she nagged. I will, Mom. We arrived at the zoo, and she continued, please be careful. I'm very nervous. This is your first time out alone, and I just want you to be safe. Mom, please. I'm 12 years old. I'm just going to the zoo. Calm down. I was tired of my mom treating me like a baby. I was so happy to get away and do something on my own for once. Besides, I knew all of this. Don't talk to strangers. Use some sunscreen. Blah, blah, blah. It's not like she hasn't been telling me the same stuff over and over again for years. Parents can be so annoying. I know, honey. You're growing up. I just love you so much. She leans over towards me. Give me a goodbye kiss. Give me a kiss goodbye. I glanced around to see if anyone was watching, and I saw 3 girls chatting away. I was worried they might see me. Mom, no. Please. You're embarrassing me. I love you, but I have to go. I'll see you at 5. Bye. I said as I got out of the car and slammed the door. I kind of felt bad, so I turned around and waved goodbye. She smiled and waved back. After I punched my ticket, I stopped at the guest relations counter. How can I help you? Said the lady behind the counter. Hi, I'm here to do some research for a school project, and I was just wondering if it would be possible to speak to anyone in charge of feeding the lions or tigers. I asked politely. Sure. The head zookeeper is the one who handles feeding the lions and tigers. His name is Gus. You can go to his office and speak with him there. It's to the left of the lion's den. Thank you, I replied, and went on my way. Good luck, she said, smiling, as she handed me a map of the zoo. I eventually made it to the lion's den. I saw the office and knocked on the door, but no one answered. It was really hot, so I decided to sit under the trees next to the door and have a snack while I waited for him to come back. About 45 minutes passed, and I saw a man approaching. This must be him, I thought, as I stood up and dusted the crumbs off of my clothes. As he got closer, I saw it was him. His name tag said, Gus. Excuse me, sir. My name's Adam. I'm doing a school project on lions and tigers. I would really love to interview you. Sure, son. Come on in. I don't have much time, but I can answer a few questions, he replied nicely. I was so excited. I couldn't believe I got an interview with an actual zookeeper. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate this. He unlocked his office door, and a blast of cold air hit our faces. It felt so good after being in the scorching heat. Have a seat, he said. What kind of project are you doing? Well, I've always been curious about your job, sir. I've wondered how often the lions and tigers get fed, how much they eat, but more importantly, what do they eat when they're in a zoo? I mean, it's not like when they're in the wild and there's tons of animals running wild. How does the zoo manage to feed so many lions and tigers fresh meat every day? I asked. That's a great question. You see, the lions and tigers really do eat a lot, sometimes as much as 60 pounds per day per animal. So you're right, that's a lot of meat. However, I find that a typical kid your age and height weighs about 60 pounds, so I just wait for a kid to go wandering off from his parents, snatch him up, knock him over the head, and throw him in the den. Within minutes, the lions or tigers will tear him to shreds. My heart sank into my stomach. Was this guy serious? Was he joking? I really got scared and sat there with a shocked look of terror in my eyes. He had to be joking. But he remained serious. I wasn't sure how to react, but before I had a chance to say anything, he started cracking up. You should have seen the look on your face, he said while laughing. You honestly believed me. I cracked a smile and a sigh of relief. No, I know you were joking, I said as I faked a laugh. Sure, he was joking, but I didn't really find it funny. In fact, I was kind of freaked out. All of a sudden, this very cool zookeeper turned into a weirdo. He abruptly stopped laughing when he saw I wasn't amused by his joke. The expression on his face went from creepy laughing to serious and mad. What's wrong? You can't take a joke, he asked with anger as he slammed his hands on the desk. I jumped in a fright. The zookeeper began yelling in a rage. You know something? You kids come here day after day, week after week, month after month with your stupid smiles on your happy little faces. You point at the poor lions and smile and laugh and have a good old time. Meanwhile, these poor animals sit in their cages confined and miserable. They can barely even run around, let alone catch a fresh meal. How would you feel if I locked you in a room with a window, let people stare at you all day, and then fed you nothing but green beans all the time? I wouldn't like it, sir. I'm sorry. I was officially terrified. This guy just went nuts on me. I needed to get out of there. As I grabbed my bag to stand up and leave, I pleaded with the zookeeper. I'm sorry for bothering you, sir. If you'll excuse me, I'll leave you alone. I didn't mean to make you mad. I went to open the door. It was locked. I was stuck in the office with a madman. I was so scared. What was this maniac's problem? He shouted louder, and his veins throbbed from his neck and forehead. Spit flew out of his mouth while he yelled, Where are you going? You can't face the truth. Typical. All humans are the same. They can come and look at the animals locked in cages, but as soon as someone gets honest about the realities of these poor animals' lives, they want to run away like cowards. Is it so hard to face the facts? He was beyond angry. He was insane. No, sir, I replied with a shiver in my voice. I prayed that someone would hear me yelling or knock on his door. I thought about my mom. I would give anything for her to be there and to rescue me from this nightmare. His rant continued. You know, this is exactly why I work with animals. I can't stand people. You're all hypocrites. You're cruel, selfish, greedy pigs. They only care about your own wants and needs. You'll never stop to think about others, especially the helpless and innocent animals. I love animals. I'm sorry, sir. Please just let me go. I clawed at the office door. Just as I began to bang on the door, he grabbed me and lifted me up. I threw my arms and legs around in a frenzy, trying to escape his grip. He opened the door on the opposite side of the office, threw me out of it, and slammed the door. I looked around and realized I was in some type of cave. There was blood everywhere on the walls, on the floor. It smelled terrible, like rotting flesh. I began to cry. I want my mommy. Someone help me. Help me. I looked around while screaming for help. There was no way out. This couldn't be real. This had to be a joke. Then he reopened the door. Thank goodness he was just joking, and he was going to let me out. I ran to the door. He pushed me back to the ground and laughed. You want to know how we feed all of these lions and tigers tons of fresh meat every day? Take a look around. You know all of those kids that go missing each year? Welcome to the club. Now you'll be one of them. You can learn firsthand how we feed the lions and tigers. Mwahahaha. He slammed the door, pushed a button, and one of the cave walls opened. 2 hungry lions stood there, staring me down. In that moment, I knew it wasn't a joke. I began shaking with fear. I closed my eyes and thought of my Oh, this is creepy. Oh, that took me by surprise. And thought of my mom. I wish I would have given her that one last kiss. Oh, how I wish. Mommy! I screamed as the lions came closer to me. The zookeeper sat in his office watching and laughing as the lions pounced all over me. And then he said to himself, "They always say curiosity killed the cat. Well, today curiosity fed the cat. Bon appetit, my furry friends." The end. At the end of that last story, I don't even know if I was recording anymore. So I'm gonna go back, but the next story will be the toy maker. From this point to the end, I'll post these videos tomorrow. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments and everything, and yeah, see you guys, and thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Thank you so much for just being here. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Alright, bye.